Not just Republicans now who pose an uphill climb for the president in Florida. Now he faces trouble and a potential Democratic primary in that critical state. Brand new poll showing Hillary Clinton leading the president by 3 points if she were to go and challenge him for the nomination. Fox News contributor Karl Rove, former White House Deputy Chief of Staff. How you doing, Karl? Good morning to you. Thanks for being here.
Morning.
We might get interrupted by the president, so we're waiting that from the White House. There was a lot in this poll. What did you take from it specifically on the numbers for Joe Biden, which seemed to be pretty much negative across the board?
Yeah, pretty much negative. And remember, he's being matched up here with somebody who's got her own negatives. The Charles Franklin did a study in September of 2019 and found that she was basically at 36% approval. She's not a popular figure, and even among Democrats, and yet she's beating the president. Look, let's step back for a minute. I think this is an expression of something more fundamental, which is Democrats are going to want an alternative to Joe Biden. They recognize running an 82-year-old, fairly or unfairly, is not a good thing for them, particularly when he's struggling as he is today. And so they're going to pick, I suspect, a well-known opponent for him, even if in a poll, even if they don't really like that person. And they don't really like Hillary Clinton. Her approval rating is, remember, she's the second most unpopular person ever to run for president. The only person less popular was the person who beat her, Donald J. Trump. And she's not gotten better since then. There's been no resurgence of Clinton fever.
But the reason I think that the pollster would even raise this as a possibility is because Hillary Clinton herself lets it be out there that she might consider it, right? But I do wonder, what if they had put any of the other names up there, like even a Kamala Harris? Like, not that she's going to challenge Joe Biden, but where is the new energy in the Democratic Party? And I know that all the Democrats would say, well, where is it in the Republican Party? Well, you might be able to see it in the matchups to come. We don't know if President Trump's going to run again. But on the Democrat side, who else is there?
Well, there's going to be no one as well known as Hillary Clinton. Nobody's going to fare as well in polls where they get matched up against Joe Biden. But what this generally shows is that Democrats are going to be looking for an alternative. Now, the good news for them is they got plenty of time. Several geological ages will come and go before the 2024 contest begins to frame up. And so there's plenty of time for somebody to emerge. And we're likely to see other people emerge because, I find it hard to believe the Democratic Party is going to nominate an 82-year-old for a second term, thinking he's going to be able to serve all the way to age 86.
Karl, pause one moment here because we think we've got the notice from the White House, and we're going to pause as well for our Fox stations to join us as we wait for the commander-in-chief to come out and give us a bit more information as of what happened in northwestern Syria overnight. We do believe the current leader of ISIS has been taken out, but more details forthcoming when the commander-in-chief steps to the microphone. We expected this about an hour ago, so we've been waiting on it. How much detail we'll get? Will we get any questions afterwards? That's what we await as we pause now. I'm Bill Hemmer, live here in New York. President Biden about to speak on that U.S. Special Forces raid in northwestern Syria. We welcome the Fox stations across the country to join our coverage, along with Dana Perino here in New York, and we'll await the announcement of the death of the ISIS leader in northwestern Syria. First responders on the scene report that 13 are dead, including 6 children and 4 women. The mission was considered a success on behalf of the Pentagon, and we're told that there were no U.S. casualties in that raid, Dana.
Apparently it was the ISIS leader Abu Ibrahim al-Hashimi. He has been well known to the United States for a long time. He was a mastermind of a lot of the crimes against humanity that were perpetrated by ISIS. And as we watch the President of the United States leave the Oval Office and come into the Roosevelt Room to address the nation, here's the President of the United States.
Operating on my orders, the United States military forces successfully removed a major terrorist threat to the world, the global leader of ISIS, known as Haji Abdullah. He took over as leader of ISIS in 2019 after the United States counterterrorism operation killed al-Baghdadi. Since then, ISIS has directed terrorist operations targeting Americans, our allies and our partners, and countless civilians in the Middle East, Africa, and in South Asia. Haji Abdullah oversaw the spread of ISIS-affiliated terrorist groups around the world after savaging communities and murdering innocents. He was responsible for the recent brutal attack on a prison in northeast Syria holding ISIS fighters, which was swiftly addressed by our brave partners in the Syrian Democratic Forces. He was the driving force behind the genocide of the Yazidi people in northwestern Iraq in 2014. We all remember the gut-wrenching stories, mass slaughters that wiped out entire villages, thousands of women and young girls sold into slavery, rape used as a weapon of war. And thanks to the bravery of our troops, this horrible terrorist leader is no more. Our forces carried out the operation with their signature preparation and precision, and I directed the Department of Defense to take every precaution possible to minimize civilian casualties. Knowing that this terrorist had chosen to surround himself with families, including children, we made a choice to pursue a special forces raid at a much greater risk than to our own people, rather than targeting him with an airstrike. We made this choice to minimize civilian casualties. Our team is still compiling the report, but we do know that as our troops approached to capture the terrorist, in a final act of desperate cowardness, he, with no regard to the lives of his own family or others in the building, he chose to blow himself up, not just to the vest, but to blow up that third floor, rather than face justice for the crimes he has committed, taking several members of his family with him, just as his predecessor did. I'm grateful for the immense courage and skill and determination of our U.S. forces, who skillfully executed this incredibly challenging mission. The members of our military are the solid steel backbone of this nation, ready to fly into danger at a moment's notice to keep our country and the American people safe, as well as our allies. And I'm also grateful to the families of our service members. You served right alongside these soldiers and sailors, Marines, Special Forces, the loved ones, giving them the strength and support they need to do what they do. To our service members and their families, we're forever grateful for what you do for us, and we owe you a debt. Thank you. We're also aided by the essential partnership of the Syrian Democratic Forces. I want to commend our dedicated intelligence community, the Department of Defense, and members of our national security team throughout the government, whose meticulous and tireless work over the course of many months ensured that this mission succeeded. This operation is testament to America's reach and capability to take out terrorist threats no matter where they try to hide anywhere in the world. I'm determined to protect the American people from terrorist threats, and I'll take decisive action to protect this country. And we'll continue working with our close allies and partners, the Syrian Democratic Forces, the Iraqi security forces, including the Kurdish Peshmerga, and more than 80 members of the global coalition to keep pressure on ISIS to protect our homeland. We remain vigilant. We remain prepared. Last night's operation took a major terrorist leader off the battlefield, and it sent a strong message to terrorists around the world. We will come after you and find you. Once again, today, we continue our unceasing effort to keep the American people safe and to strengthen the security of our allies and partners around the world. I want to thank you all, and may God bless you, and may God protect our troops. I'm heading off to New York right now. I'm late, and I thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Mr. President, compromise has been eliminated, sir. How many U.S. troops were involved, sir? Mr. President.
Just a statement, no questions from the president of the White House, calling him a major terrorist. Special Forces operation hitting a target overnight in Syria. The president referred to him as Haji Abdullah. Apparently he had a number of names he went by, considered the current leader of ISIS. Quote, he chose to blow himself up and not just the third floor of that building. End quote from the president a moment ago. Stay tuned to this Fox News station and the Fox News channel for continuing coverage on this story throughout the day. Here, we'll bring it to you when we get it. Until then, I'm Bill Hemmer, live in New York. And now our coverage continues here on cable. Back with Dane and Karl Rove in Austin, Texas. Your instant reaction, Karl, is what? After working in the West Wing and having a fair share of terrorist targets on your own time of duty there.
Well, congratulations to our U.S. military. This is a major actor. This is a major defeat for ISIS. They won't go away just because their leader has been killed, but it will toss them into some confusion and as they attempt to reorganize. And this is a moment of weakness where we'll be able to get more information and be able to attack additional targets. But congratulations. The president did the right thing this time. And remember, this is the former vice president who opposed the raid to take out Osama bin Laden. So hopefully he's got a permanent change of mind here and recognizes when we have an opportunity to strike an enemy of the United States and of our allies, a global terrorist leader, we need to take those moments and strike.
And Karl, does it come at an interesting time where you have our adversaries elsewhere agitating, looking for opportunities to maybe oppress others? For example, China sending all of those warplanes over Taiwan just last weekend, showing a little bit of strength at this point. You know, the president doesn't always address the nation, but that's how they described this today. And of course, we took it, we showed it to everybody so that they could see. And of course, the war on terror, to me, and I think to all of us here, remains a very high priority. But to do an address to the nation was a little bit different for this White House.
Yeah, I think it was a wise move. I think you're absolutely right. This sends a strong signal that we're willing to take strong action. Same with sending the U.S. troops to Europe to bolster our allies in NATO. I wish it had been done a long time ago, weeks or months ago, as this situation in Ukraine developed. But I'm glad the president did it, and I think it sent a strong signal. But yes, absolutely. When we have a chance to do this, it sends a signal to the entire world that we're taking the threat of Islamic terrorism seriously, and we will not allow enemies of the United States to escape justice, particularly when they've been involved in as heinous crimes as this man was. And remember, this man engaged in genocide against the Yazidis. This man engaged in random violence against innocent civilians throughout the Middle East. And not just, I'm not just talking about aiming his threats at the United States. This is a man who has killed, on his orders, thousands have been ordered to be killed.
And was willing to kill his own children as well, and his wife.
Yeah.
Thank you, Karl.
Karl Rove, thank you.
Appreciate it very much.
Jennifer Griffin, a few more details from the